My name is Emily. This is a story about my first love. I met him when I was 14 years old. His name was Daniel. It was summer. The weather was warm. The sky was blue every day. School was closed for the holidays. I spent most days at the park. The park was near my house. I liked to sit under a big tree and watch people. One day, a boy came to the park. I had never seen him before. He walked slowly. He looked around. He sat on the grass not far from me. He was tall. He had short brown hair. He wore jeans and a blue t-shirt. He looked quiet. After a few minutes, he looked at me and smiled. I smiled too. "Hi," I said. "Hi," he said. "I'm Daniel." "I'm Emily," I said. "Do you live here?" "Yes," he said. "We just moved. Our house is near the school." We started to talk. He told me about his dog. I told him about my best friend, Lily. We talked for almost 1 hour that day. Then he said, "I need to go home now." "Okay," I said. "Maybe see you tomorrow?" "Yes," he said with a smile. "Same time?" I smiled. "Yes." The next day he came again. I was already sitting under the tree. He sat next to me. We talked again. He told me about his old town. I told him about my school. I liked talking to him. His voice was soft. He listened to me. We met almost every day after that. He always came to the park in the afternoon. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we just sat quietly. It felt nice. I liked to be near him. I started to wait for him every day. One day, he brought his dog. The dog was big and funny. His name was Max. Max ran around the park. He barked a lot. I laughed. Daniel laughed too. "Do you like dogs?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Max is funny." We threw a ball, and Max ran after it. We played for a long time. I felt very happy. That evening, I told my mom about Daniel. She smiled. "That's nice," she said. "He sounds like a good boy." "He is," I said. That summer was special. Daniel and I did many things together. We bought ice cream at the shop. We sat by the river and watched the water. We played games on our phones. Sometimes we just walked around town. He asked me once, "Do you have a dream?" I said, "Yes. I want to travel one day." He smiled. "Me too. I want to see the sea." We both laughed. We were just kids. But when I was with him, I felt different. I felt happy. I felt safe. One day he took my hand. It was quiet. We were sitting under the big tree. He looked at me. I looked at him. He smiled and held my hand. My heart beat fast. I didn't say anything, but I didn't let go. That was the first time someone held my hand. From that day, I knew I liked him more than a friend, but we never said love. We were young. We didn't know what to call it, but I knew it was special. Then, one afternoon, Daniel looked sad. He didn't talk much. He looked down. "What's wrong?" I asked. He waited a moment. Then he said, "We are moving again." My smile disappeared. "When?" "In 2 weeks," he said. My dad got a new job. I felt cold. I didn't want him to leave. "I don't want to go," he said. "I like it here. I like this." I didn't know what to say. I just looked at the grass. I felt my eyes get wet. We didn't talk much that day. We just sat under the tree. For the next 2 weeks, we met every day. We didn't talk about the move again. We just did what we always did. We walked. We sat. We laughed a little. But in our hearts, we were sad. On the last day, he brought Max again. Max barked and jumped. We played with him. Then we sat under the tree. "This is my last day," he said. I nodded. I didn't want to cry. "Thank you," he said, "for being my friend." I looked at him. "You're my best friend." He looked at me for a long time. Then he stood up. I stood up too. We hugged. It was the first and last time. Then he left. I sat under the tree for a long time. I watched the sky. I listened to the wind. I felt a pain in my chest. I didn't want to go home. After Daniel left, I still went to the park. I still sat under the tree, but it felt empty. School started again. I saw my friends. I smiled, but it was not the same. They talked about school, clothes, songs. I listened, but my heart was not there. I didn't see Daniel again. He moved far away. We didn't talk on the phone. We didn't write. I didn't know where he went. I just remembered his smile, his voice, his kind eyes. Some people say first love is not real, but I don't believe that. I was only 14, but what I felt was real. He stole my heart that summer. After Daniel left, my days felt slow. I woke up, went to school, came home, did my homework, and went to bed. Every day felt the same. I still went to the park sometimes. I sat under the same tree where we used to sit. I looked at the grass. I watched people walk by. But Daniel was not there. His voice was not there. His laugh was not there. I missed him. I missed his dog, Max. I missed his silly jokes. I missed his calm eyes. I didn't talk to anyone about it. Not even my best friend, Lily. She talked about school, her favorite singer, her new shoes. I smiled and listened. But inside, I felt empty. One night, I looked out my window. The stars were bright. I remembered one evening when Daniel and I sat on the grass and looked at the stars. He pointed at the sky and said, "One day, I want to fly." I smiled then. I smiled now, but this time it was a sad smile. After some months, things started to change. I laughed again. I talked more with my friends. I still missed Daniel, but I didn't cry anymore. The pain was still there, but it was softer. 1 year passed. Then 2. I turned 15, then 16. Many things changed. My clothes, my phone, and my hair. I became taller. I started helping my mom at home. I studied harder. I got good grades. One day Lily said, "There's a new boy in our class." "What's his name?" I asked. "His name is Ryan," she said. "He is cute." I laughed. "You always say that." She smiled. "You'll see." I met Ryan the next day. He had short blonde hair and green eyes. He was quiet, like Daniel. He sat at the back of the class. In the first week, we didn't talk much. In the second week, our teacher gave us a group project. Ryan and I were in the same group. We talked about the project. Then we talked about other things. His family, music, food. He was kind. He listened. He asked questions. I liked talking to him, but it didn't feel the same. One day Ryan asked, "Do you want to walk home together?" "Sure," I said. We walked slowly. The sun was low. The street was quiet. He said, "I like walking with you." "Me too," I said, but part of my heart still felt far away. I looked at Ryan. He was a nice boy, but I didn't feel the same thing I felt with Daniel. With Daniel, even silence was special. I didn't tell Ryan about Daniel. I didn't talk about that summer. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. That night, I lay in bed and looked at the ceiling. I thought about Daniel again. It had been 2 years, but I still remembered his voice, his eyes, his hand in mine. Why did I still think about him? Maybe because he was my first love. One evening, I went to the park again. It was quiet. I sat under the big tree. I closed my eyes. I could hear the birds. I could hear the wind. I could almost hear Daniel's voice. I opened my eyes, and then I saw something. A boy walking his dog. The dog was big and brown. My heart jumped. I stood up fast. "Max?" I said. The dog turned. The boy turned too. It was Daniel. He looked at me. I looked at him. For a moment we didn't say anything. Then he smiled. "Emily?" I ran to him. "Daniel!" Max ran to me and barked. He jumped around me. I bent down and hugged him. Daniel walked closer. He looked taller, older, but his eyes were still the same. "You came back?" I asked. He nodded. Only for 1 week. My grandma lives here now. We are visiting her. I smiled. I didn't know what to say. My heart beat fast. We sat under the tree. Max lay on the grass. You look different, he said. You too, I said. He smiled. I miss this place. I came here a lot, I said. I thought about it, he said. I thought about you. My face felt hot. I looked at the grass. Me too, I said. We talked for a long time. He told me about his new town, his school, his new friends. I listened. I told him about my school, my new class, my plans. I'm happy you're here, I said. I'm happy too, he said. We met every day that week. We walked Max. We sat in the park. We talked and laughed like before. But the week went fast. On the last day, we sat under the tree again. I leave tomorrow, he said. I nodded. I know. He looked at me. I wish I could stay. Me too, I said. He looked sad. Maybe we can text. Okay, I said. We stood up. He looked at me for a long time. I'll miss you again, he said. I'll miss you too. We hugged. Max barked. Then he left. This time, I didn't cry. I just watched him walk away. He came back, but not to stay. And I understood. Some people come into your life for a short time, but they stay in your heart forever. After Daniel left again, I went home and sat in my room. I looked out the window. The sky was dark. I saw one star. I thought about him. He came back, but only for 1 week. I saw him. I spoke with him. I laughed with him. But now he was gone again. I was not a child anymore. I did not cry this time, but my heart still felt heavy. I sat on my bed and thought about that summer again. The first summer, when I was 14, when I met him for the first time, when we sat under the tree and held hands. So many years had passed, but the feeling was still there. He was my first love. The next day, I went to the park again. I sat under the tree. The wind was soft. The sun was warm. I closed my eyes. I could still hear his voice. Hi, I'm Daniel. I like talking to you, Emily. You make me feel calm. I opened my eyes and smiled. These were small words, but they stayed in my heart. After that, life moved on. I finished school. I got good grades. I went to college in another town. I studied hard. I made new friends. I lived in a small room with another girl. Her name was Sophie. She was kind and funny. She liked music and dancing. I liked quiet places and books. but we became good friends. One day, Sophie asked me, "Did you ever love someone?" I waited a moment. Then I said, "Yes, when I was 14. She looked surprised. "That young?" "Yes," I said. "He was my first love." "Do you still talk to him?" she asked. "No," I said. "Not now." Sophie smiled. "I want to know this story." So I told her. I told her about the tree, the dog, the quiet park. I told her about Daniel. I told her about the last hug. She listened to every word. When I finished, she said, "That's a sweet story." "Yes," I said. "It's also a sad one, but also beautiful," she said. "You never forget your first love." I smiled. "No, you don't." After college, I got a job. It was in an office in the city. I worked at a desk. I answered emails. I made calls. I worked Monday to Friday. Life was busy. Life was fast. Sometimes I forgot to eat lunch. Sometimes I worked late. But I liked the job. It was not easy, but it was good. On weekends, I rested. I called my parents. I cleaned my room. I watched movies. Sometimes I went to the park in my new town. I found a quiet place and sat on a bench. One day, I saw a boy with his dog. The dog was big and brown. I looked again. For a second, I thought it was Max. But it wasn't. I smiled anyway. That night, I remembered Daniel again. It had been many years now. I did not know where he lived. I did not know what he was doing. Maybe he was studying. Maybe he had a job. Maybe he had a girlfriend. I did not know. And that was okay. I did not wait for him. I did not hope for a message or a visit. But he was still in my heart. I met other people. I talked to boys. I went on a few dates. Some were nice. Some were boring. But none of them felt like Daniel. One day, I met a man named Thomas. He worked in the same office building. He was friendly. He liked walking in the rain. He liked quiet music. He did not talk too much. We went for coffee one evening. Then we went again the next week. After some time, we started seeing each other more. He made me laugh. He listened. He asked me how my day was. He waited when I was late. He sent me pictures of the sky when it was pink. I liked that. He did not make my heart beat fast like Daniel, but he made my heart feel calm. One day he asked me, "Do you still think about someone else?" I looked at him. I smiled. "Yes," I said. "I think about a boy I knew when I was 14. He was my first love." Thomas was quiet. "I don't love him now," I said. "But I will always remember him." Thomas nodded. "That's okay," he said. I also have someone in my past, but it's just a memory now." We both smiled. That night, I went home and sat near the window. I thought about Daniel again. He came into my life for a short time, but he changed it. He showed me what love feels like. He showed me that small moments can stay forever. He held my hand under a tree. He told me I made him feel calm. He was my first love. And first love is special. It does not always stay, but it never really goes away. Now I am older. I work. I live in a new place. I have new friends. I have a new love. But when I walk past a park, I still look at the trees. I still smile when I see a big brown dog. Sometimes I sit on a bench and think about that summer. I was only 14, but I felt something real. I still carry that feeling, and I always will. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon. My name is Beth. I am 43 years old. I live in a quiet town with my husband Roger and our daughter Amy. She is 16 years old. We have been a family for many years, but my days at home never felt easy. When I think about the past, I remember a very different time. I remember the day I met Roger at a wedding. He smiled at me in a warm way. He spoke in a soft voice. He said he would care for me. He said I would never feel alone with him. His words felt strong and simple, and I thought they were true. I was young, hopeful, and ready to build a life with him. At that time, I believed in him with my whole heart. When we first married, we did not have much. We lived in a small apartment with old chairs and a tiny kitchen. The floor made noise when we walked. The windows were old, and the air was cold in winter. Still, life felt sweet. We cooked simple meals together. We walked in the park on weekends. We sat on the sofa and watched small shows on the old TV. Roger sometimes brought me little flowers from the shop near our home. I felt grateful. I thought this was the start of a happy life. I thought we would grow older side by side. I imagined many quiet mornings and slow evenings. I imagined a home full of soft voices and warm care. Life slowly changed after Amy was born. At first, the change was small, and I did not notice. Amy was a sweet baby and needed a lot of care. I woke early each day to feed her. I washed clothes, cleaned the living room, swept the floor, and cooked meals. I felt busy, but I was glad to be a mother. Roger helped a little in the beginning. He held Amy sometimes and made small jokes to make me smile, but with time he helped less. He spent more hours sitting on the couch. He said he was tired. He said he needed rest. I thought it was normal, and I tried to stay patient. As the years passed, the home grew busier, but Roger grew still. I woke before the sun each morning to start the day. I cleaned the kitchen and packed Amy's school lunch. I checked her schoolwork and made sure she ate breakfast. I washed dishes, cleaned rooms, and did the laundry. I moved from one task to the next without stopping. Roger stayed in bed or sat on the couch with his phone. He liked reading news or watching small videos. He did not look up when I asked for help. He always said the same words in a calm voice. He said I did everything better. He said it was easier if I did it. I tried to laugh at first, but later the jokes did not feel like jokes anymore. I began to feel tired in a way I could not explain. It was not sharp pain. It was slow and steady. My body felt heavy during the day. My eyes felt tight in the morning. My hands moved because they had to move. I did not rest. I did not stop. I felt like time kept pulling me forward and I had to follow. Roger did not see this. Amy grew older and needed help with school, clothes, friends, and projects. I helped her with all of it. I tried to smile at her because she was still young. I did not want her to feel my worry. One morning I was late for everything. The sink had many dishes. The laundry waited in a full basket. Amy could not find her school paper. She looked stressed and almost ready to cry. I walked from room to room trying to help her and clean at the same time. The house felt too small for all the things I needed to do. Roger sat on the couch with his phone in his hand. He did not look up. He did not hear Amy calling me. He did not see the work around him. I asked him softly if he could help us. He told me not to make noise. His words felt sharp, even though he said them in a low voice. That night I made pasta for dinner because I was too tired to cook anything else. I put the plates on the table and sat down. Roger looked at the food and asked why I made the same thing again. His voice was not loud, but it did not feel kind. I tried to explain that I felt tired and needed some rest, but he did not want to hear it. He spoke with firm words about being the man of the house. He did not ask how I felt. He did not say thank you for the meal. I lowered my eyes. I did not want Amy to hear us talk like this, so I stayed quiet. After that evening, I stopped asking Roger for help. I told myself it was better to avoid tension in the house. I wanted Amy to feel safe. I did not want her to worry. I continued to wake early and sleep late. Each day felt long. Sometimes I went to the store, and neighbors looked at me with soft eyes. They asked if I was all right. My mother said I looked tired. Even Roger's parents said he worked hard, but I knew he did not. He did not work at home or outside. He stayed in the house most days and rested. I tried to push away my worry, but it stayed inside my thoughts. One night, Roger made a comment that made my whole body feel weak. He said women were made for this kind of life. He said it was natural. His words did not feel real to me. They did not feel kind. They did not feel like the man I once married. I did not argue with him. I did not want another cold evening. The next morning, I cooked only for myself and for Amy. I did not wash Roger's clothes. I did not clean his cups. I did not pick up his things from the floor. I did not do this to be unkind. I only wanted him to see the work I did every day. I wanted him to see the weight I carried. On the fourth day, Roger finally asked why the house looked different. He asked why things were not done. His voice did not sound angry this time. It sounded confused. I looked at him and spoke in a calm voice. I told him this was the life I lived for 20 years. I told him I never asked for much. I told him I did my best each day, even when I felt tired. Roger looked down and held my hand. He said he would try to change. His voice sounded softer than before. For a short time, he really tried. He found a small job and left the house early in the morning. He helped wash dishes. He played with Amy. He asked me how I felt. For the first time in many years, the house felt balanced. I could breathe a little. I could sit down without worrying about every little thing. I wanted to believe this new life would stay. I wanted to think we had found a better path. But even as I smiled, a quiet fear stayed with me. It was not sharp fear. It was simple fear that came from many years of being alone in the work. I watched Roger come home each day, and I tried to trust this new version of him. I wanted to trust him. I wanted to feel safe again. I did not say these thoughts out loud. I kept them quiet in my mind. I told myself to wait, to see what would happen next. Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. Roger's new effort continued for some weeks. Each morning he left for work with a small lunchbox in his hand. He came home early in the evening. He asked about Amy's day. He helped clear the table after dinner. He even fixed the old light in the hallway. These moments gave me a quiet hope. I felt lighter when I woke up. I cleaned the house with less worry because now someone stood beside me. Amy also felt happy. She said the house felt different. She said it felt calm. I agreed. I wanted this new life to stay. I wanted to believe it would last. For the first time in many years, I could sit on the sofa without feeling guilty. I could rest my feet for a few minutes. I could drink tea while the sun came through the window. I watched Roger laugh with Amy during a simple board game at night. I watched him try new recipes in the kitchen. He used simple steps, but he tried. His face looked lighter. His voice sounded warmer. We went for short walks again. Not every day, but sometimes. It felt like a small start, and I held on to it. Still, there was a quiet fear inside me. I did not speak about it, but it stayed with me. It came from years of carrying the home alone. It came from long mornings and long nights. It came from moments when I asked for help and did not receive any. This fear made me watch things more closely. I watched how Roger placed his shoes near the door. I watched if he helped without being asked. I watched if he stayed patient when the day was long. I wanted to trust him, but trust grows slowly. 3 months passed, and then small changes started to appear again. At first, they were easy to miss. Roger came home late one evening. He said work was busy. I believed him because it sounded normal. The next week, he came home late again. He left his used dishes on the table. He did not put away his work bag. He said he was tired. I told myself it was only one day. But the days turned into more days. Soon he stopped helping with the dishes. He stopped playing with Amy in the evening. He began to sit on the couch again for long periods of time. His eyes stayed on his phone. He did not look up when I spoke. The house started to feel the same as before. I tried to breathe and stay calm. I did not want to jump to fear too fast. I wanted to believe he would try again, but each week grew heavier than the last. One afternoon, I returned from the store with bags in my hands. I placed the food on the table and turned to call Amy. I saw Roger's shoes in the middle of the hallway. His jacket was on the sofa. His cup from the morning was still on the table. The house looked like my old life again. I felt tired and stood still for a moment. I asked Roger if he could help me put things away. He said he was busy. His voice was flat, like the past was returning one small piece at a time. Amy noticed too. One evening she came to me and asked if everything was all right. She said the home felt tense. I told her not to worry, but her eyes looked unsure. She was old enough to see the change. She remembered the long years before this short period of calm. I wished she did not have to see this again. One evening, about a year after Roger first promised to change, he came home and sat at the table without saying a word. I placed dinner in front of him. He looked at the food for a moment, then looked at me. His face had no warmth. His voice was steady and cold. He said he wanted a divorce. I felt still, like time had paused for a moment. I did not yell. I did not ask why. I only said 2 simple words, "Then go." Roger stood up and left the room. He did not take much. He only took some clothes, his phone, and his wallet. I watched him walk out the door. I listened to the quiet sound of his car driving away. Amy came to me and asked what happened. I spoke gently and told her the truth. She held my arm and stayed close to me. We sat on the sofa together for a long time. I did not cry. I was too tired to cry. I only felt a slow, steady quiet. 2 months passed, and news reached us through a friend. Roger had married a younger woman named April. Their wedding was small. People said she was calm and polite. People said Roger looked happy. I listened to the words, but they did not pull anything from me. I had spent many years giving all of my strength. I did not have space for more worry about him. My life now belonged to me and to Amy, but soon we began to hear small details. April did not wake early. She slept late most days. The kitchen stayed messy. The living room stayed untidy. Roger began to do more and more work in the house. He picked up clothes from the floor. He made breakfast. He washed dishes. He cleaned the rooms. He tried to keep the home steady, but April left many things for him to do. He came home tired and sat down with a quiet face. These small details reached us slowly, but each one felt clear. His new life did not look easy. Roger is in his new home, facing a life he once gave to me, and I am in my home, trying to build a new path with Amy by my side. Life slowly became calm after Roger left. The house felt quiet, but it was a gentle quiet, not a heavy one. I woke each morning and made breakfast for Amy. We sat together at the table and talked about school, friends, and simple plans. I washed dishes at my own pace. I cleaned the house without hurry. I did not feel watched or judged. The rooms felt open again. There was space to breathe. I felt tired at times, but it was a normal tired. It was not the long tired that came from years of doing everything alone. Amy stayed close to me during these months. She helped clean the kitchen after dinner. She folded her clothes. She asked how my day was. She showed a quiet care that warmed my mornings. She did not speak much about Roger, and I did not push her. We both needed time to understand our new life. We needed time to feel steady again. And day by day, we found a simple rhythm. Sometimes we ate dinner outside on the small porch. Sometimes we watched a short show before bed. The house did not feel perfect, but it felt safe. I also found a small job at a local shop. The hours were short, and the shop owner was kind. I stacked shelves and helped customers. My hands stayed busy, and it felt good. I liked having a reason to leave the house each day. I liked the soft chatter of people who came in to buy bread or fruit. I felt part of the town again, not hidden behind long housework. When I came home, Amy often sat at the table with her school book. The house felt peaceful in a way I had not known for many years. Meanwhile, we sometimes heard small updates about Roger's new life. A neighbor saw him at the store. A friend heard something from someone else. The details were simple, but they showed a clear picture. Roger did most of the housework. He cooked breakfast. He cleaned the kitchen. He picked up clothes from the floor. April did not help much. She liked to sleep late. She spent long hours on her phone. She left cups and plates in different rooms. Roger tried to manage everything, but he grew tired. People said he looked different. They said he stood still in the store as if his mind was far away. These small reports reached me slowly. I listened, but I did not comment. I did not feel joy or anger. I only felt calm, as if a long story had reached its natural end. One evening, after a long day at the shop, I sat on the sofa with a warm drink. Amy read a book nearby. The house felt soft and steady. I looked around and saw a life I built with care. It was not fancy. It was not loud, but it was peaceful. I thought about the many years when peace felt far away. I thought about mornings when I carried everything alone. Now those memories felt like old pictures. They did not control me anymore. Later that same week, when I was closing the shop, my phone buzzed. I did not check it until I reached home. It was a message from Roger. His name on the screen made my hands pause. The message was short. He asked how I was. He said he hoped I was doing well. I stared at the words for a long moment. Amy walked into the room and saw my face. She asked if everything was all right. I told her it was just a message from her father. She nodded and sat beside me. I did not answer the message that night. I did not know what to say, and I did not need to say anything right away. I slept well. The next morning I read the message again. It felt calm. It did not feel heavy. I placed the phone down and went to the kitchen to make breakfast. After a few hours, I wrote a simple reply. I told Roger that we were fine and that Amy was doing well in school. I did not add anything more. It felt enough. Weeks passed, and he did not send another message. I did not expect one. I did not wait for one. My days moved forward. I worked at the shop. I cooked dinner. I watched Amy grow into a strong young woman with clear thoughts and a kind heart. Sometimes she spoke about her future. She wanted to study in a nearby city. I told her I would support her. Her eyes shone with quiet excitement. I felt proud of her. One afternoon, while I swept the porch, I thought about the long road that brought me here, the years of work, the long mornings, the days when I felt unseen, and then the slow shift toward a small and steady peace. I did not carry anger. I did not want it. I only wished for a simple life with space to breathe. Roger's choices were his, and my life now was mine. As time passed, the house grew lighter. Amy laughed more. I cooked new meals on weekends. I planted a few small flowers outside the porch. They were simple and bright. They made the house feel warm. I did not know what the future would bring, but I felt ready for it. I no longer woke with worry. I no longer walked through the house with a quiet fear. My days belonged to me and to my daughter. That was enough. And so the story reached its natural end. Roger lived his new life, carrying the work he once left for me. I lived my quiet life, steady and peaceful, building each day with care. Nothing else was needed. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English.